What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. This is Ron, and this is your stimulus check update, your stimulus package update, your third and your fourth stimulus check update, as well as stimulus news update. And we've got more stimulus checks that are expected on the horizon, guys. And this is because Democrats can now bypass the GOP on not just one, but multiple infrastructure bills. And the Senate parliamentarian is clearing the way for another reconciliation. And later, we're going to deep dive into how Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has confirmed that, as well as the new details from the White House regarding the forthcoming $2 trillion stimulus plan. And finally, as news came in saying that the Senate can now move ahead and actually pass additional stimulus bills, even without GOP votes, I'm afraid that Democrats will still have one thing to worry about, which unsurprisingly happens to lie within their own party. And now, some of you may have already guessed it, but I'm talking about Senator Joe Manchin and his opposition to President Biden's corporate tax hike. I swear this guy might be an undercover Republican, but I don't know. So I'm going to be sharing everything that you need to know about that, and we're definitely going to be covering everything in this video. So make sure you guys stick around until the very end. And also, this is the third stimulus package that just passed, and there's so many different buckets of money in there for the American people. I mean, you've got $1,400 stimulus checks. Many people received much more than $1,400. I mean, I've gotten reports that people received $9,000 stimulus checks. You got the $300 per week unemployment boost. You got $3,000 to $3,600 in child tax credits. You got $250 to $300 per month in tax credits, mortgage assistance, rental assistance, EIP loans, EIDL loans, EIDL grants, PPP, which is your Paycheck Protection Program. You've got student loan forgiveness. Don't forget food and utilities assistance. So guys, there's so many different buckets of money. I want to make sure that you guys are not missing out on any of these opportunities to be able to get this money that the government's handing out. So definitely be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on anything. And speaking of student loan forgiveness, let's not forget that Joe Biden has already recently just forgiven over $1 billion in federal student loans. So, I mean, there's so many different opportunities out there in this stimulus package. Oh, and don't forget, many individual states are also providing local stimulus checks, which I also share on this channel. Plus, we have a fourth stimulus package right now coming down the pipeline. There are ongoing talks regarding a monthly stimulus check as well as a $200 monthly boost in Social Security raises. So there's so much money that's going out and many different opportunities, many different ways to be able to get this money. This is essentially free money, so definitely don't miss out. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, tap that notification bell for more videos like this one, as well as videos on investments, stocks, and generating passive income. Now, if you've already subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that notification bell and select all so that you actually get the notifications. If you don't select all, you're not going to get the notifications. But for now, let's go ahead and jump right into this. And I just got to say, I'm really excited to read you guys' comments about your third stimulus checks finally hitting your bank accounts. So I really appreciate the feedback, you guys. And also comment down below if you need a fourth stimulus check. Let's see if we can get a poll going. So if you need a fourth stimulus check, drop me a comment down below. I'd love to kind of get the general consensus of my audience. All right, guys. So last Sunday, National Economic Council Director Brian Deese, he said that despite the powerful March jobs report and a wide range of different positive economic signs in recent months, President Joe Biden's new spending plan is still sorely needed. So he's talking about the next stimulus package here, guys. Now, speaking of Fox News Sunday anchor Chris Wallace, the White House official said that compared to before the pandemic, the U.S. economy is still behind, saying that the $2 trillion infrastructure plan that President Biden has unveiled just last month could actually help the country get back to where it was in early 2020. So the argument is certainly being made that these stimulus packages are actually needed just to help the country catch up, not even quite get ahead yet.
Well, the jobs numbers in March were certainly a welcome sign. It's good to see the economy starting to improve, and we certainly think that it's a sign that the economic and vaccination strategy that this administration has put into place from day one is starting to have an impact. But we have a long way to go. We still are down 8.4 million jobs from where we were a year ago. We have millions of people out of work. More than 2 million women have left the labor force because they've had to choose between caring for their family members and their jobs. And so we have a long way to go.
And I definitely see his point here. He came to pitch the broad $2 trillion infrastructure plan and explain how it could be a huge help in continuing, what helped improve or what has improved the US economy in the past few months. But the problem here is that the critics are now pointing out that President Biden's new stimulus plan, which is being sold as an infrastructure bill, is not addressing what it's supposed to be about. And in fact, some of the critics went even further to say that the American Jobs Plan, which is the first half of the Build Back Better plan, it actually spends less than half of its budget on infrastructure. And they say that less than 6% of the proposal actually goes to roads and bridges. But when anchor Chris Wallace pressed Deese about this matter, saying that Deese and the White House are, and I quote, stretching the word beyond all meaning. And the council director answered by saying,
well, look, I think we really need to update what we mean by infrastructure for the 21st century. If you look at that number on housing, what we're talking about is construction, building housing all around the country to help make sure that there are more affordable housing units for people to access jobs and access economic opportunity. We're talking about construction to build things like VA facilities, our schools and community colleges, putting people to work, construction work that really needs to be done to meet commitments that we have to our veterans and others.
Now, among the provisions in the American Jobs Plan that critics pan out to be far from what is normally meant by infrastructure are $50 billion for research infrastructure at the National Science Foundation and $35 billion for climate change related research and development. But the highest price tag in the bill on any one item, which as expected attracted harsh criticisms from various people, is the $400 billion for home-based childcare for elderly and disabled people. And Deese argued that this money will boost the care infrastructure in the country, saying that
we believe that the infrastructure of our care economy is something we have to take very seriously. If for anybody out there, many of your viewers who are parents, who are taking care of an elderly parent or an adult child with disabilities, they know that if you don't have an infrastructure of care to support your loved ones, you can't effectively work. You can't effectively interact in the 21st century economy.
Now, of course, a significant amount like this would cause Republicans to speak out. And they slammed the proposal as a wish list of democratic and social policies. However, Deese assured that the White House and the president are always willing to negotiate. But to what extent? Well, that's what we're going to be looking into over the next few days, because right now, as much as I would love to give you guys an answer to that, Deese only confirmed that they want to have a conversation and that they're already starting that outreach. However, he did say, and I quote, "We're not going to negotiate that on this show." So yes, he refused to provide any kind of benchmark for just how much the president is actually willing to compromise, but I will definitely be sure to keep you guys in the loop when new updates on this surface. But for now, that's all that I can share on this particular matter. But now, regardless of Republican criticisms, Democrats can now move ahead with their legislative proposals even without GOP support or Republican support. That's right, guys. And just yesterday, a spokesperson for the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer told reporters that the Senate parliamentarian allowed the use of budgetary rules to be able to pass at least one more bill than previously thought without the need for Republican backing to be able to break a filibuster. This would essentially pave the way for Democrats to be able to pass multiple sweeping infrastructure bills this year alone. And in a statement, the spokesperson said, "The parliamentarian has advised that a revised budget resolution may contain budget resolution instructions. This confirms that the leader's interpretation of the Budget Act, and it allows Democrats additional tools to improve the lives of Americans if Republican obstruction continues." And he went on by saying that while no decisions have been made on a legislative path forward using Section 304 and some parameters still need to be worked out, the parliamentarian's opinion is an important step forward that this key pathway is available to Democrats if needed. Now, we know that Democrats used the budget reconciliation process earlier this year to pass Biden's $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan without any GOP votes or Republican votes. This included the stimulus checks. This extended the $300 per week unemployment benefits. This provided the $300 or $250 per week to $300 per week in child tax credit. So they've already done this earlier this year, and it looks like they can possibly be doing this again. And we've already confirmed that we've got about 75 Democratic senators that are actually pushing for additional recurring stimulus checks. Can you guys imagine if they literally, without GOP support, went ahead and pushed through monthly stimulus checks? Comment down below if that would make your day. I would love to hear from you guys on this one. But while President Biden has repeatedly expressed his goal of bipartisanship in Congress, the increasing opposition from the GOP would obviously make it pretty hard to achieve. So, this new ruling would definitely give a boost to Democrats to get their agenda through Congress. Now, this will allow them to possibly include more stimulus checks in the second piece of the Build Back Better plan. And it's very clear that the Democrats want at least one more stimulus check going out to the American people, if not multiple stimulus checks. And because we know that right now, more and more Democrats add to the list of legislators that are actually pushing for additional stimulus checks for the American people. Basically, any agenda that they want, regardless of whether or not the GOP members like it or not or support it, can technically be passed as long as the Democrats stay on the same page. I mean, if you like stimulus checks, if you want a fourth stimulus check or more stimulus checks, then this got to be great news for you guys. And in fact, let's get the word out. If you haven't already, go ahead and share this video with your friends and family. Share this video on Facebook, share it on Twitter, Instagram. Let's get the word out, reach out to your politicians. And if you're for stimulus checks, if you're for another fourth stimulus check, I highly suggest that you should reach out to your politician and let them know that you want a fourth stimulus check and that you need a fourth stimulus check if you need one. And now we know that Republicans are more fiscally conservative than Democrats, so without a successful obstruction from them, then the odds of actually seeing more relief payments in the future, I guess, would be substantially higher. Now, that is, again, if the Democrats stay on the same page, but you got Joe Manchin, so he's kind of like that wild card. So I feel like stimulus checks are a very likely possibility if you could actually get your boy Joe Manchin on board. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Now, in the previous package of the American Rescue Plan, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin, he actually proved to be a thorn among the roses, if you want me to be honest. But, that's just what we saw in the last stimulus package. But, in spite of him being a thorn, he actually ended up getting on board, which is what allowed the American Rescue Plan to be passed, which is exactly why people are cashing and receiving third stimulus checks today. So we'll definitely see what happens. I mean, not to keep beating up Joe Manchin, but I do feel like he's probably the Democrat that kind of keeps the other Democrats a little bit more mild. Since he tends to be kind of like middle of the road or almost borderline Republican, he kind of reels the other Democrats back in. I don't know. That's just what it seems like. Comment down below if you guys agree, or even if you disagree. I'd love to hear from you. And we all know that the Democrats hold a razor-thin majority in the Senate, meaning that they would actually need every single Democratic vote to be able to pass their proposals through the reconciliation process. Now, Manchin, much like how he played his card during the passage of the American Rescue Plan, he seems to now be using that same power with his vote to get his Democratic colleagues to consider his personal agenda and concerns once again. Now, right now, he's saying that raising the corporate tax rate to 28% goes too far, and he would not be supporting it. However, he would instead support raising the corporate tax rate to, say, 25%, saying that it would raise about $400 billion over the course of 10 years. And I quote, "As the bill exists today, it needs to be changed. If I don't vote on it, it's not going anywhere." And it's more than just me. There are 6 or 7 other Democrats who feel strongly about this. We have to be competitive, and we're not going to throw caution to the wind. Well, I'm all for being competitive. As a country, we definitely do need to be competitive. But at the same time, politically, I kind of wonder if the Democrats said, hey, let's ask for 28 because we already know that they're going to try to knock us down or negotiate downward. So let's overshoot what we really want. Maybe they wanted 25 out the gate, but they knew in order to get 25, let's ask for 28% corporate tax hikes, knowing that, okay, we've got some room for negotiation. We'll back down, take 25. So maybe it was already in the cards for all we know. But apparently Joe Manchin knows the power that he has right now over how the things will end up for legislation proposals from his fellow Democrats. I mean, he really did emerge as a power broker in the current 50-50 Senate, but of course, we will see how his opposition to the tax hike would actually affect President Biden's new stimulus spending package. But anyway, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, she revealed just yesterday that the president is ready to negotiate with Joe Manchin and other senators on how to pay for this ambitious infrastructure proposal. But as always, we'll have to see about that over the next coming days. They only give us so much information at a time. So anyway, that's it for you guys. That's your stimulus check update for this particular video. If you guys made it this far, I would totally appreciate if you tack the like button. I put a lot of effort into each and every one of these videos. And so if you haven't, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And when you hit the notification bell, make sure you tap the all. That way you get all of the notifications whenever I release new videos and updates like this one. And you can be sure that I'll be sharing more stimulus updates as soon as they come out. But that's all for now. I appreciate you guys for sticking around, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.